also recording now. Can you give us a quick check if everything's running all well and good?
That's right.
You should hear a lot of
That's right. We're
um
live. Def- That's right.
yikes. I've got it open, so it
We're
overlays on
live.
me. Oh, I can't have it overlaying. That would be really annoying. Cool. Alright, sounds good. I shall wait for you. I'll send you an invite once you're here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, welcome everyone to live stream number 2, is it? It is.
Yeah.
We back on this nice day, the April 19th. Since we are in Australia, it is a Sunday over here currently. Um, and we'll get right into it. Have you played the new game mode yet, JT?
No, I have.
Uh, you want to try it?
Sure.
It's kind of annoying. There now.
You can try what you want. I just want to see what's.
I don't know what's available. Whatever, really. Here we are. Oh. I guess I was gonna talk about today kind of the idea of when it comes to games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually there's multiple parts to being good. One of them
Mm-hmm.
being game sense is one, depending on the game you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Another is mechanics. Game
Yeah.
mechanics is also one of them. I forgot what the other two were. I guess it is kind of really game specific.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted your opinion on if you had to like kind of outweigh each of them, what do you think would be more important for a beginner playing a
Like
game?
for game mechanics and games like I did things like that.
Yeah. So like,
Um.
maybe not for a beginner, because a beginner obviously you'd think game mechanics really. Um, let's say for an intermediate player,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think would be the more out of kind of those ideas, what do you think's more important when you're starting kind of an intermediate player? You've got some knowledge of the game, have some basic mechanics, but if anything, what is the more important um,
Probably get mechanics, I guess.
mechanics?
Yeah. Yeah. Get because like it also has to depends what games you're to. So mechanics is very important in the sense of you trying to learn the game.
Mm,
But as like if you're trying to have like for example like in Rocket League, mechanic is definitely important for one. But like for example like Siege or like CS:GO and things like that, mechanics is important, but at the same time like things like map knowledge is truly important too. So
mm,
it kind of varies because for example like if you have a if you have a game that is pretty much the whole time you're playing like around,
mm-hmm,
and then like the map is always the same. There's no point of like map knowledge or like any knowledge. From there on is pretty much like I guess like knowledge of character would count. That's why I think
mm,
like sometimes there's like a lot of like that's why I think like kind of like balance and things have to go through a lot of time. For example like uh uh things like Rocket League, like because it's always the same map, right?
mm.
So like things like
All
mechanic
same
is very
style of map, yeah.
like mechanics is very important, but as for map, it's not as important. Like because the thing's gonna usually be staying the same spot anyway. So you pretty much if you got kind of get mechanics down, and then because during that time you're gonna learn your mechanics, and then the whole time it's like pretty much like you got your mechanics down, and then shit, sorry, my like so when you get your mechanics, and then after that because you only have one map to learn, don't you? So you pretty much from there on it's like a second nature because what like pretty much like where everything is because the maps never change. But as for things like Siege, map knowledge is very important because there's so many. and then even in competitive scene, like
Mm.
the map can be like the don't verse like in competitive, they don't only use one map, they use multiple map too. Like if I'm right.
Mhm.
So yeah, then after that, from there on, you have your then from there, then you have your like map knowledge is one thing. Then after that, you have your mechanics. You have like the mechanics of like different characters that the power up. How fast do they take out their gun, or like how fast that one thing like took, kind of thing like that. That's like kind of varies, but some is definitely more important than others. But it just depends what games you're in.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think they're both important in this sense, but at the same time, it depends what game, and then pretty much pretty much like you have to have one, then you can slowly improve. For
Mm.
example, like in CS:GO, like you don't think uh like like fundamental of CS:GO is pretty much, or like the fundamental of any first person shooting is, you're trying to shoot the other person out, right? Trying to kill
Mhm.
the other person by shooting them.
Yeah.
But if you have your like your map knowledge down, which is good for you, but at the same time, if you can't kill any person, like that's like the game is like the game pretty much is kind of like render useless from time to time.
Mm.
Yeah. Hmm,
Of course. I guess it is an issue, hey, sometimes.
hmm,
Um, 'Cause there are obviously multiple aspects to specific games, but in generalization, a lot of the common parts is one, your your mechanical skills in a game.
hmm,
So like you said, it can literally depend on what the game is. And then
hmm,
another comes into play where it's like good game sense, or not necessarily, because map knowledge comes down as well to certain games. And
hmm,
so game sense is, having an understanding of kind of how the game works in a way to play it to your favor.
hmm,
And that's beyond mechanics, because that's like using proper knowledge. It might be, I don't know, aerial predictions in Rocket League, or it could be pre-fire spots in Rainbow Six, or I don't know, other strategies in other games, you could say.
hmm,
Um, but it is kind of I don't know if you, in a amateur sense, you could get away with um no game sense but amazing mechanics sometimes, because
hmm.
often in a head-on firefight, let's say in Rainbow, someone with amazing aim most of the time will outgun a lot of the firefights they get into.
Hmm,
But the downside is where they can be caught off guard is not expecting someone. So the lack of
mm,
game sense really kind of takes that part to it, hey.
exactly. Because like, for example, like for example, like uh, like for example, like also in when you look at Rainbow and compared to CS:GO,
Mm,
the the fundamental of the map game is totally different. Because in Rainbow, or like in CS:GO, you can like it's not like it's like straightforward, or like when you throw a grenade, it's like it's easy as done. Like you chuck a grenade, then you destroy like like you kill a person and things like that. Because like uh in CS:GO, when you use a grenade, you can bounce off like different like areas to to hit someone, or at least like to distract people. But of course, grenade can be like used as that as well, but at the same time to have some sort of distraction to like like areas and open new space and things like that. So
mm,
in the sense that like shooting is very like it's very fundamental. Like you have to you have to be good at the game. Like you have to be good at shooting to be have some sort of like kind of use in a game, I guess.
mm,
Like not saying that if you learn maps, if you learn the map, that means you use it. No, it's not. It's just pretty much that because like because pretty much like that's the reason why it's called FPS in the first place. It's not calling like strategy games or things like that, because FPS come first, then after that strategy came second. So in the sense that like yeah, like I guess that's where your idea kind of comes where to the point that like like majority of the fight the person that have a good aim
Mm,
can kind of you pretty much outgun any pretty much any fight. But yeah, but at the same time like maps importance is very noticeable as well. Like for me, like I would say that like if you're a beginner, like if you're good at aim already, like great. But then after that, and then you don't learn any map, it's pretty much rendered useless because people a lot of people can go like can pretty much have like when like sorry when like that's more like if that's the only 1v1 situation fight, right? Like yeah, you are at the upper hand of like get, getting like your aim is great and things like that. But other people have like different tactics of like scaring you, distracting you, and things like that. And it can varies too. So it's pretty much come down to that, I guess.
mm. Yeah, I guess that's true because obviously for like the most part with a lot of people in your mid-tier ranks for any game, um for the average ranks it's often mechanics it comes down to because
Mm,
obviously it's evident in most high skilled ranks for any game that beyond mechanics which is already sound, um then comes your game sense and actual strategy with it when it comes to the game.
mm,
um and since mechanics are like a bit of a prerequisite to getting into higher ranks,
mm,
there is a bit of that gap where obviously to start off with, it always really starts with getting control of recoil control, maybe um I don't know how to drive your car in Rocket League properly,
mm,
controlling your car in its entirety, and a lot of the times mechanics kind of falls into the first thing you do have to pick up.
mm,
um because not to say that mechanics are the most important, because obviously it then becomes a different playing field when you go move on to higher rankings and more professional type plays, where
mm,
obviously it's not mechanics that they're working on as proper outplaying each other to see if they can outplay each other.
mm,
And I guess what happens with what I see with more kind of when you get to that stage where your mechanics in the game are fine, but it probably could be improved,
mm,
is quite a plateau for most players. Um, because like I often see a lot that well I do it a lot as well, where I get to being kind of well versed with the game and
mm,
understanding a lot of how it works. I've got some sound mechanics. I'm may say more of your average player, hey. But
mm,
um obviously you get to a point where you're playing the game and you're kind of annoyed because you like suck at the game, like half suck at the game, but also are good at the game at sometimes. And
mm,
so it comes down to certain moments. You might clutch sometimes, but you're really inconsistent.
mm,
Um, and the inconsistency, I guess, comes from, um, you know, the expectation is if you want to move up to higher ranks in certain games, is that you have to improve certain things. And I think to break the first barrier of good gameplay for any game really is just fine tuning all the mechanics beyond a certain
mm,
level. It's like
mm,
being quite fluent with game mechanics because keeping those consistent is one important trait.
mm,
Um, and then once you've really fine tuned mechanics, it then becomes that game of game sense and strategy
mm,
rather than just wholehearted who can control recoil better or move their car in a certain way better. And
mm,
so um, I guess then for most people who play games, obviously you do it for fun. It's not necessarily it's not like a career or anything. So I wouldn't expect you to be um, practicing for so long. I
Mm,
guess. But everyone has that feeling of they do want to be playing well in a game,
mm,
and it kind of goes to show that obviously if you want to be good at something, you do have to practice a lot of.
mm,
But to make things a little bit easier for some people, I think is actually narrowing down exactly what you need to practice. Because
mm,
when people practice with most of the practice modes in games, like let's say T Hunt in Siege for one, um,
mm-hmm,
there's multiple ways you can use T Hunt to practice. I've seen a lot of people for just, aim, recoil control, going in there blindly and trying to get as many headshots as possible. That's a
mm,
good way of practicing exactly, you know, running in and actually shooting.
mm,
And then I've seen some people play the game mode in different ways, but I find it'll be a lot harder if you're not practicing specific things.
mm,
It's a little bit more less motivating as well if you're kind of running around hoping for the best and not really aiming at a specific thing that you really want to work on.
mm,
And you kind of lose motivation sometimes.
mm,
So it's a lot easier to lose interest in a game when you're kind of just, running around because with experience comes a lot of well kind of I wouldn't say skill, but experience is another um aspect of the game experience,
mm,
because obviously how much time you've spent in the game will reflect most of the time of how well you can perform,
mm,
but the quality of what you perform ultimately also depends on what you've been doing the entire
mm,
time. I guess you could say
mm,
someone could have clocked in 1,000 hours into a specific game, but if that was just 1,000 hours of mucking around, then it's
mm,
not as rewarding in a sense.
mm,
Like it is important to understand that games aren't to be taken too seriously most of the time because
mm.
you know reason of playing video games is actual downtime and just having fun with your mates,
Exactly.
and enjoying the game. So
Mm,
it's not necessarily a requirement, you could say,
mm,
but ultimately, unless you were trying to get to a professional standard of in a certain game,
mm,
there is no stress in playing certain games. Um,
mm.
I guess you practice up to a level where you have enough fun with your friends.
Yeah.
Um, but if you truly like, if it's a casual game for you and you're spending most of your time just running around playing, then keep it that way. Because if you wanted to get better at the game, you'd put in more
Mm,
practice. But if you know it's kind of for some wholehearted fun, then it isn't as required as much.
mm,
So that really kind of comes down to your intent with you know, what you actually want to achieve with the game. Do you want to be like really good? Do you want to be a certain rank? Or is there like a specific, I don't know, do you want to just kind of be able to beat your friends in 1v1s or stuff like that?
mm,
It really comes down to the part of intent and how well you'll be in a game. Because obviously, people play the game, but a lot of the time, if they want to be good at it, then you have to really refine down your intents with that game.
mm,
Because then at least you'll find in the long run, later on, you'll either find that you improve for a specific standard, or you know, you kind of just tag along that one, I guess that plateau area.
mm,
But obviously, it is a struggle, and I don't think many gamers enjoy that plateau phase,
mm,
where you've had enough experience to be well knowledge in the game, but you still are struggling sometimes.
mm.
So it really also just depends on how much you enjoy the game. Hey,
Mm.
I
But
mean,
at the same time,
hmm,
like this sometimes I found it really curious to the point that because obviously if you want to be a uh like a gaming champion and things like that, you have to try your best to master one game, right? It's
mm,
just the confusing part for me is that okay, for example, you look at different type of things, like for example, in comparison, okay, uh for if professional gaming is your job, that's where kind of things for me kind of a bit weird, because yeah, you are for example, when you win a, if you are one of the best, right? Obviously you you're gonna get like tons of money from like different competition, right?
Mm.
And then it's just like looking at like gaming history and things like that, like because this rarely happens, but like it's just like I wonder like if people that like professionally game have the worry of like what if like like yeah they are the master of this game already, right? And what happened when the game became irrelevant, you know what I mean? So
Oh, I see what you mean.
for example like Dota or like League of Legends, like the first at the start it was Dota. Like don't get me wrong, like League of Legends good at like I didn't say like none of them start. It's just that Dota was one of the competition that was like the OG original that's like 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 the most popular one before League of Legends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the sense that now League has their their prime age, which is like having like tons of competition and things like that.
Mm.
Then after that, like Dota is slowly like unknown anymore. Like because like for example, like if I made a like like if I master one game, right? For example, like it's a whole new brand new game. No one think of it. Or for example, if it's like that, right? And for example, you
Yeah.
know how uh if you stop playing like CS:GO, at least you have like things like you know like like different games like Valor is coming out at the moment, or like any first person shooter, because the same concept is the same, right? You just have to get used to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in a sense that if I create a game that like no one knows, and you're being master of it, and I hold like tons of competition and like tournament and things like that, and you became one of the best, but when and I and one day I decide like I'm the game creator and I decided to shut it down, right? No
Mm.
more competition, no more nothing, and you quit your job because you want to get good at the game.
Mm.
But during that time, I shut down my game, and there's no other game like my game. Like I wonder how the professional is gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, do they have like other hobbies or other jobs they're doing or things like that?
Mm.
And then it's just I'm very curious because for example, like Shroud, like
Mm.
he's good at competition. He won a lot of competition, things like that. And then and now he's streaming. Like that's a good way of like you became a streamer. But if you struggle like to talk to people and things like that, like s- like would you like and then you like because you don't have you don't have a job and you can't get good to the game. Like how can you kind of pretty much like or found a job or like try to do something, I guess, like you know what I mean?
Mm.
For example, like how can you tell when a game is like irrelevant or when they're not gonna like the support is not gonna do any like new updates or things like that, you know what I mean? Because like it's sad to think about it, but like but like if I said that for example, one day Rocket League or Siege, they're gonna like they're gonna turn sorry irrelevant, and then and then like in comparison in like into the future game, the graphics is not as good, or like no like because of that reason no one's plays. Like how can you like being a professional in that game, like how can you like kind of adapt kind of thing? Because for me, like I truly do believe that if you play game as a living for your career, like any game that you pick up or like any game that you can like you pick up, you can have a like a good chance of like master it really easily, because you pretty much have your own like from you getting from other games, you get like different type of like controls, or you have your own specific controls that then you don't have to build like a new one, things like that. Like it's just I've just found it very curious, like where like if I'm a like a champion in that game, like if and my game the game that I'm playing, it's it's just gone. Like what people do, you know what I mean? I just found it really curious.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess there is a that idea of like carryover skills.
Mm,
Um, and so obviously someone who's more, I think I had the same chat with a friend of mine the other day about this. Um, obviously someone who's well versed in first-person shooters will find it a lot easier to pick up on a new first-person shooting game.
Mm,
And so you have that carryover skill that exists when they're trying out something new, maybe. And
mm,
most of the time, it doesn't necessarily mean because you'll find a lot of the games, the more popular ones at least, they don't age. Or I mean, since we are living in at this current moment in time, it is a bit harder for a game to kind of just disappear. Um,
mm,
because you'll find in the effect that it's made, you'll learn some valuable skills from that game that will make you
mm,
maybe more adapted to, I don't know, to another game, like a new game that comes up, because genres are pretty timeless, you could say. You always
mm,
have, you have platformers, you have first persons to third person adventures, you've got your racing games even, um, and you've got all sorts of these different genres of games, right?
mm,
Um, I think most of the people who play professionally are actually well adapted in those genre of games,
mm,
and I guess it's also based on a bit of luck here and there, because you never really know if you're going to be like if a game's just going to click really well with you. I find a
mm,
lot of the people who play professionally have been playing that game like since its release, and
mm.
so why they are like really good is because they've grown with that development of that game over time, and
Yeah.
so often it isn't they wouldn't have to necessarily worry about too much about like, well, I mean, I guess it is a bit of a struggle if a game goes out of date and you're not as like maybe well mentioned in that era,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
obviously if a game kind of goes out of date, then it's kind of limited to really, well, what happens and where do you go from there.
Mm,
But I guess a good thing is, like many careers, you will have a set of skills you gain from doing something. So let's
mm,
say you were a really good Call of Duty player for back in the day, and
mm,
since a lot of first-person shooters exist, you'll be really good at any new first-person shooter that comes out. Hey,
mm,
and it's just it kind of depends, and if you really like the game that much and you practice a lot on it, you've got natural game sense that you'll be able to pick it up and hopefully go professional in the new game. But
mm,
that really is dependent then on what sort of skills you picked up and how you go on about it.
mm,
So, so for many professional gamers nowadays as well, I find that they train a lot. Of course, they do it for a living,
mm,
and they're always really good because that's a given. They play it
mm,
professionally. They play it in competitions, and they play it, you know, they play it so that people can watch them and be entertained as well. Because
mm,
professional gaming is also like a bit of the it's pretty much entertainment, isn't it?
mm,
Like playing sports as well. People go to watch other people play a sport really well, and it's because they play at such a high level that it kind of is amazing to see what people are
mm,
able to do with you know with games like that. And so,
mm,
like those forms of entertainment, new things will always pop up into kind of pop culture,
mm,
with new games and the new eras of types of games. Um, well, let's say we'll take a stand at the phase when battle royale started kind of getting into the thing, right?
mm,
Um, I couldn't really date you an exact year, but obviously, the battle royale style of a game took off, a fair few years ago now. But
mm,
during that phase, it really captivated a lot of people because it was like so new and everyone loved the idea. And
mm,
so games that were able to capitalize, or those ones that were already based on battle royales, were able to capitalize on that new kind of craze for this new, like, I'm not going to say new type of game mode, but like a little bit more different than your normal death matches and you know all
mm,
sorts of those style of games.
mm,
Like, it is a pretty intriguing concept being like last man standing in maybe in a lobby of 100 something people. And so when that type of those battle royale games started kind of getting into popularity, I guess you could say they may have been other professionals who played that game at that time. They may have gotten skills from certain games that allowed them to perform really well in it,
Mm,
but it never really is a guarantee. Like you could have been playing a lot of Call of Duty back in the day, and that made you pretty adept to first-person shooters,
mm,
and maybe you know that made you a little bit just that little bit better in a specific battle royale game, let's say,
mm,
you know. And so I guess for professional gamers, it wouldn't be too much of a hassle, but it does get to a point sometimes when games dip out of popularity. But
mm,
I think if we, as the viewers, stick to that idea of, kind of still supporting them, it'll really help that in the gaming industry perform well.
mm,
Because maybe well, back then the gaming industry wasn't as tops as it is now. It's currently gone super well in its current era in time because
mm,
obviously um, new technologies and everything coming out electronics and just people capitalizing on the new idea of electronics and kind of allowing people to enjoy games a little bit more. And so,
mm,
like as of now, um, like more of your esports and gaming have really taken on a massive boost, and
mm,
it's not an industry that's well, it is a pretty big industry. I'll tell you, because a lot of people
mm,
do play video games, but
mm,
obviously it's not maybe not as big as some other industries which are a lot larger. But I think gradually we're going to continue to support a lot of the gaming industry, which
mm,
which I guess is a good thing because I don't think gaming is going to die out anytime soon.
mm,
At the current moment, it seems like it's currently the big thing um, for now. But yeah,
mm. Oh, someone,
hmm?
someone saying hello to us in the chat.
Oh, do we have someone?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Hey,
Who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Um.
I don't know.
Oh, we have a viewer. Hey, how you going? It's actually a monumental time. What are they saying?
He's just saying hello. COD does have a lot of translatable skills like CS:GO. Guarding the family is
Hmm.
getting bigger due to the pandemic. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Whoa. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
cool as. Yeah, but that is entirely true. That there are a lot of those skills that you can just switch on between games, which makes them
Mm,
adaptable because you know you want people to actually adapt well to other games. Because if you get focused too much on one game, and you do run the risk of the game, maybe falling out of popularity, and then obviously you have to kind of reinvent yourself to adapt to what is in during that current time.
mm,
Yeah. Sorry, I
mm.
don't actually have the Twitch chat on, which sucks because I can't see if there's anyone there.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then like in that sense of in that case like that kind of case like would like professional gamers like have to you know they have to like play a different type of game so they can like have like a really good adaptable or like adaptable situation or like is it like mastering one game is like is good enough as it is, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like yeah, so like is it like because at the moment like when you look at like different people like especially streamers they play like tons of games like for example you know for example like offline TV you have like your they play League of Legends the most, right? And
Hmm.
that's like one of their like like best like two best play in the house. But from time to time, like the two League of Legends player would play like like Valorant, like a shooter game or like other different type of game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in the sense of that like you can see in the like the gameplay too. They're pretty good. Like as like for the people that play like League of Legends and things like that. So
Hmm.
like in the sense as like if I want to like I'm not too sure but like is it easier in that sense that like would it be beneficial if I spread all my skills out in like like RPG type of game like
Mm.
or civilization skill type or like things like strategy and things like that. Like would it be me like for me would it be more like better if I spread it all across the board or just mastering one game as it is, you know what I mean? Or like
Mm.
or in this sense it's like mastering only one skills. Much,
Well,
yeah.
I guess it really depends, hey, because specializing in a type of game is good
Mm,
because you have specific genres and there's a lot in those genres. But a specific game to really be like the best at it would mean you'd have to devote a lot of time to that game,
mm,
and it has its pros and cons because you get to be the best, but it's very specific. So it's
mm,
kind of it's a bit of a you almost gamble that time you have because you
mm,
can't be good at every single game, which is
exactly.
why we have the greats in all sorts of different games, the same way we do in sports, right? Because
Mm,
they're really focused on something specific and they want to be the best at it, which is good.
mm,
Um, but I guess for certain streamers, for gaming channels, it doesn't hurt to be good at different types of games, like not
mm,
just one. But that
yeah.
also depends on what your channel's built on. If you're
Mm,
primarily a I guess if you're just primarily a COD YouTube channel, then I guess a lot of maybe your fan base would be expecting a little bit more of what exactly what you you set out to produce, which is COD.
mm,
But let's say you were just kind of more of your here and there gamer, like yeah, I'm pretty sure we all be well versed in Vanos, right? And he
mm,
does all sorts of different games, and he's always entertaining because of him and his friends groups and whatever the hell they get up to is always funny. Um,
mm,
but that's also opinion based, so depends if
mm,
you do like him or not. But see with him, he goes really well. He's really successful now as well, and he gets around all sorts of different games. And
mm,
it's not because he's specific, but who he is kind of as a YouTuber is more of just like an entertaining YouTuber rather than
mm,
like a specifically competitive one.
mm.
And
Like it,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like in that sense, like I see what you mean. It's like his entertainment value doesn't really come from like skill base. It's more of like a the personality type. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
type of channels. Like I yeah I see what you mean too. But like I think like will it be way better if like for example like imagine Venos, right?
Mm,
He got like he got his like personality which is like great and all his group, but
mm,
imagine all of his group is like good at like every single game they play. Will it be more entertaining or will it be less entertaining in that sense? Because like
mm,
I would say less entertaining because like during the time of gaming they would do or like when they do voiceover they would like because if you're a really good gamer, like I think you'll be like more of your focus will be on the game rather than like doing like like stupid crap or like doing like different type of things that would like create like some sort of like scenario that kind of you have to like kind of
something
what's
that's
the word.
entertaining for the comedic value rather than the skill. Hey,
Exactly, yeah.
yeah.
So like in that sense, like for example, like I would consider like Venos would like have like his entertainment is like or like his personality is way or like if he got both, like it'll be way worse if he start playing professionally, I guess. But in the sense
Oh,
that like if a person started professionally at the start and they became more entertainers at the end, it's just it also like
it
it kind
kind of
of
doesn't fit their personality. Hey,
it kind of comes down to very like if like if you're in a professional league and then or like the person that you betray is always known as like the fun guy or like the happy guy, it makes sense as that, right? But
mm,
like for example if you look at like if you're an entertaining guy and you're trying to be like um like you're trying to become you're trying to be like go professionally, it's a bit weird or like not weird but as I say to say at the least like people is gonna judge you more often than not because people would say like oh you're not worthy because like like you like because they always look at your gameplay as a when you're not paying attention, but like what if like you always cut up like the good parts, or like when you, because you're entertainer, you cutting out like the silent part when you try to focus, try to win a game. If that sense, like like will it be easier one way or the other way around? You know what I mean?
Oh, so would it be easier to transition from like hella professional to
To
goofy comedic,
entertaining, yeah,
or
or
from
like
entertaining
to
to professional?
to exactly, yeah.
Because here's the catch as well with that is as much as it is a personality thing,
Mm,
it then comes down to like I guess what your viewers enjoy. Because
mm,
it is a bit weird if you then kind of go out of character.
yeah.
Because on YouTube you are this person, and people know you for what you do. I don't know if you do skits and whatnot, or if you're like a mad professional gamer who gives so many good skills and it's just amazing at the game. And I've seen streamers with a mix of both, actually.
Mm,
But see, the thing is, for someone for like a because professionals are often actually entertaining. You'll find. No, it's not
mm,
like entirely that they're just focused 24/7 and it's always
mm,
good gameplay that we're looking for. No, they're actually
mm,
entertaining most of the time because they also like to meme around and have fun.
mm,
Um, but in a sense, obviously, um, if they are kind of more like committed to that one game, then it's a bit harder for them to start branching off into new ones, I guess.
mm,
Um, but you never know; it actually might work out because I've seen a lot of people who are really good at specific games just kind of be like, "Oh, let's try this game out." And it's really different because it's harder to achieve that by yourself, I would say. When
mm,
you have like a group of friends, obviously you're looking for more entertainment you know, rather than I guess strictly skill.
mm,
Um, and so often with people with teams, and like in not teams, but like in groups of friends, you kind of just are entertained by whatever the heck they get up to. All sorts of the
mm,
dumb skits they do, the little inside jokes, or maybe the banter each of the people have with each other. And
mm,
obviously, I haven't necessarily seen that same team sense, or not team, but like same friend group sense, but as professionals.
yeah.
Um, obviously, I've seen it in some esports teams where obviously since they played so much, they
Mm,
know each other really well, and you've got your occasional skits here and there. But they're never really.
mm,
They're more known for their actual gameplay as professionals rather than just as entertainers.
mm,
And so then that then comes down to like your channel as well, and just it just depends on what you're trying to do, you know.
mm,
But generally, most of the YouTubers who are also both entertaining and well skilled, um, in specific games,
mm,
actually deserve it because beyond the jokes and jokes aside, they're actually like reasonably well in the game.
mm,
And so what attracts people is how good they actually are, but also like memeing around and being entertaining.
mm. Oh
And
yeah.
so
Like the viewer also said that
yeah,
it's like it's similar to Does Disrespect, where he's very good
yeah,
at the he's very good at the game, but he's very entertaining as well.
yes. So like so yeah, a lot of the like some entertainers, like jokes aside, are actually really good at the game,
Mm,
which makes it
yeah.
even better because you then are amazed by their skill as well as their entertainment factor.
Mm, exactly.
And that in itself is its like own personality.
Mm,
So you kind of have to have, I guess, that type of personality with some games. Like it's not entirely a lottery draw, but it is a bit of a mix, and you can't always predict that everyone's going to find you entertaining, or you're going to be both entertaining and super good at the game.
mm,
Sometimes our favorite YouTubers are the ones who make us laugh a lot. Other times they can also get our jaws dropped in awe of how skilled some of the gameplay they have actually is. So,
exactly.
and I guess that's the fun thing about it because sometimes you get a mixed bag of someone who just likes to meme around a lot
Mm,
and just likes to meme around a lot, and you
mm,
appreciate them memeing around because that's who they are. And
yeah.
then sometimes you get a mix of those. I got another black market animated decal, but it's a blueprint. It makes me so sad. Um, but yeah, no, back on topic. Sorry. You then kind of, I don't know. It's really specific, hey.
Mm,
And I guess that's the fun part about finding everyone and different YouTubers. The
mm,
more successful ones are quite unique because of their personality. Like,
mm,
they aren't trying to copy people. They're not going around, just because they see someone do this, they're not going to be like, oh, I want to do this. They might take on the idea, but
mm.
I find the most entertaining part of them is when they're actually just being themselves. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
like I kind of don't resonate with maybe. Oh, actually, I haven't really found a YouTuber that I've kind of had a bit of an inch for like not liking, because most of the YouTubers I find are actually the successful ones and more popular ones are actually really unique, um,
Mm,
in their own ways a lot. And I guess that's how like channels and stuff have their own type of fan base,
yeah.
is because the people like them for whatever
That
unknown thing.
reason.
Yeah, for their
Mm,
reason, and they like them a lot because of who they are, rather than I mean, it is a bit of a mix.
mm,
It could be a bit of who they are, what they do, but most of the time you'll find it's because of who they actually are. Like
mm,
maybe they're like fairly honest. They like to they're just this type of person, and it's just fun seeing them like that. And they're just
mm,
really made to be performers, which is what I really like. And like that's like the more positive side about the like just people in the channels,
mm,
because obviously like you'll have people who completely disagree with certain YouTubers and just dislike them in its entirety, and that's fine because everyone can like and dislike whoever they want.
mm,
Um, but I think the positive side is the people who actually like appreciate those for just being themselves,
mm,
and that's a really kind of nice part about some fan bases, how they're not built upon you know too much toxicity and whatnot, but actually on people who genuinely enjoy the content that they receive
mm,
from certain channels and streamers. So
mm,
I think it's a nice thing about it.
true. Because
Yeah.
like when you look at like like the people that have like non-toxic fan base, or like the people that
Mm.
like trying to be themselves, like because like you at the like it's like pretty much like the whole idea of like when you look at the iceberg, right, you see like what come out of it, but not really the process of making of the. But I think that's where like uh you as the creator, if you want to have that type of like 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 comfy, like pretty much like comfy fan base or anything like that, I think you're the one kind of have to set foot saying that like, oh, this is my fan base, or at least like try to kind of like um what's the word, like filter out the like toxic ones, like. But at the same time, like
Mm.
as one thing said, you can't have one without the other.
Yeah,
So
of course.
it's kind of I found it very interesting because like that is like the true sense. But like, can you get lucky to the point that like majority of your fan base is it's gonna have like all your viewers, and like only like one person is a toxic one, you know what I mean? And like because your ratio is so like big in comparison, you can pretty much like like filter the toxic one, and keep all of your fan base, or you have to keep like if you have to keep one of the toxic, because you have to find like you have to balance it out, you know what I mean?
Mm. Well, I
Mm,
guess like fan bases are genuinely so proper fan bases are actually built up of similar like people. So the people who
mm,
enjoy your stuff, like of course everyone's like different, but most of the time you'll find that there are actually some similar traits between you and your fans. So obviously,
mm,
if you are notoriously known for trolling a lot of people,
mm,
then it's people who also enjoy seeing that are going to be your fans. And
mm,
so most of the time you'll find that the fan base of a channel is kind of representative of the YouTuber themselves. Or maybe like not always YouTuber, like could be any other platform, but similarly um it's similarly how do I explain this? Representative of the YouTuber
mm,
themselves.
mm,
And I guess that's a nice thing, because if you're like, really outright and nice doing maybe I don't know. Let's say you were a vlogger who runs around doing certain things, then it's only nice to know that you get the fans that match with you. So you don't get
Mm,
fans who like run around again abusing you or judging you 24/7 for your content, but the ones that actually like care about you and are actually very similar to
mm,
your point of views and stuff. And so
mm,
that's the nice thing about having, nice fan bases that actually care about you
mm,
rather than just the ones who are like, oh my gosh. But obviously, like, if you do run around being toxic on the internet, I guess you could expect more of your fan base to be filled with a fair few trolls and whatnot.
mm,
You know. So I do understand the part where you're talking about how you kind of have to control, not like control your fan base, but give them a bit of a nudge. But
mm,
I think naturally that comes from how you are as well and the
mm,
content you give them. So like
mm,
even then, um, you still, or it's almost like natural that your content attracts the type of people that like your content, and they
mm.
may have like a kind of a meshed group personality that you've given them almost a trait on, right?
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing because you'll find that the fans of a certain person have like these traits that come from the content creator themselves. So
Mm,
it's not always just the fans themselves, but it's actually like the content creators who like make their fan bases. They almost mold their fan bases in a certain way
mm,
of um of representing them actually as a person, which is quite nice because people who enjoy your content similar to you, then I
mm,
guess you guys could just like resonate off each other, and it really works out. Hey,
mm.
yes. Is there one viewer said anything else?
That's surprising. There's two now.
There's two. What? Okay. By the way, for you guys listening, we are actually astounded AF for getting anyone. So as it says on the description, we are just like a bit of a talking channel, and why we have Twitch is so we can kind of communicate with you guys if you guys have like any questions, discussion topics. Um, but if you kind of just joined, like it says in the genre, we are just chats.
Mm,
Our chat topics really range. Today we came across gaming because that was something I kind of had in mind, which was interesting. Um,
mm,
so, and and then that's how we kind of got around the idea of gaming, and then we started talking about like professionals and then YouTube channels and whatnot. Um,
mm. And this one guy were asking, "Are you guys new?" Yeah, we are. We are new, kind of. We are
we are
very.
very new. I
Yeah,
will tell you.
we are very new.
And so like we did do a live stream last time. We had no viewers, but that was fine anyway.
Mm,
Yeah, I guess you can't really do much about it, but we're just here to try out and have fun. But
yeah, yeah. So we pretty much like, to say the least, we started out
I think
this
a
year.
month back.
Yeah, a
Um,
month back.
a month back we do have a YouTube channel as well, by the way. Is that in the description or no?
I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oop.
We might have to fix that.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to change that one day. But yeah,
Yeah. So,
we are pretty new. um, I guess we decided to do this because I think we explained in one of our videos because we do have a YouTube as well. I might throw that in the link a little later. But
but yeah. So the whole concept was that because we okay. So me and Simon, you usually talk like
yeah,
like tons of times, and really cool idea like always pop into our mind, like for example, topic we just had, about
yeah,
video games and things like that. And we figure out that it's a good and fun way to having it unfiltered while we're playing like some sort of game, or like getting our mind like distracted so we can talk our mind to it. So yeah, that's the whole point of the stuff. And we want to see like if
there's actually
anyone.
other similar people we have out there. Yeah,
Mm, yeah, so like kind of open-minded, and then we have our own ideas, but at the same time we're not scared of like sharing it, I guess,
yeah.
in a sense. Yeah, and we just want to meet people, and or like we want to meet people that is like us, as well as like kind of like have any question, and or like if you guys have any like
Topics that might just cross your
yeah.
mind. It could literally be
Mm,
about anything.
yeah.
I guess it is kind of confusing how like we're saying, oh, it can be anything. You're like, oh, really?
mm.
So
Like
Justin and I, yeah. Oh, sorry, you go.
yeah, no, yeah, sorry. So yeah, when we say anything we want, it's basically anything. You guys can talk, like we can even talk about food if you want, but when it
Interesting.
comes down, yeah, but it has to come down to our knowledge base, right? If you asking me about like uh the theory of like the human race, and I haven't done my research, I'm pretty much like kind of like stuck like giving my opinion pretty much like like the whole point of human race is living, I guess. Yeah. So we will try our best to kind of like think of like the answer for you guys, or like even if you guys ask us a question, we have like in the future we might do a like a topic about the question in the future, and if we find more details about it. Yeah, so that's the whole point of our channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do like to keep that idea of just kind of thinking about things, but like in a different way. So
Mm,
like you might have noticed today, we were talking about like gaming, and I asked Justin, oh, what's more important, like game mechanics or is it game sense? And then we got onto like channel fan bases and like how people kind of interact when it
mm,
comes to like maybe it's certain streamers, how we like certain streamers because it's a nice personality they have,
mm,
and obviously like what keeps us coming back for more is because we genuinely like who they are as well. I guess you like their content and a bit of who they are as a person,
exactly.
and so it can kind of go any which way.
Mm,
Um, but we like to think about it as just having a chat, I guess,
mm,
and discussing ideas that maybe not too many people discuss nowadays.
mm,
Well, it's not that they don't discuss it nowadays, but like maybe not so many people spend so much time thinking about like, oh, you know, I really like playing. Maybe I really like playing video games, but I never really know how to get better at it. Then you kind of have to
mm,
like break it down into, you know, well, what exactly do you want to be better at? What are you trying to achieve, and like just the different components of anything really.
and because like for me, like I was born in Malaysia, where cancel culture is not really a thing, and when I came here, it's a massive thing where like people try to saying that, oh, you're not woke, or like things like that. We just try to kind of like we're trying to kind of like without a filter, try like if we are offending anyone on this stream or any of our talk, we are sorry, but we are not trying to offended anyone. It's just pretty much like this is our version of unfiltering. So like sometimes we can say like, oh, something really nice, or sometimes, or the other time we can say something like bizarre, and like like it could be like anything from squeaky clean, or like or like talking about like weird
Like
weird
it could be,
topics, I
yeah,
guess.
it could be like kind of contradictory at sometimes, but I guess like what we like to think about it is like, oh, you're trying to kind of understand other people's sides as well, which is the fun
Mm,
part to it, because
mm,
not everyone has the same opinion and everything. But like
mm,
really listening and being able to discuss without having to like argue against each other's, it's really like nice way of, I
mm,
guess, a nice way of how we think is a nice way to talk and to
exactly.
discuss. Like
Mm,
because a lot of the time I find most people are either trying to convince someone that they're right or telling them that they're wrong.
mm,
But like we like to think, oh, maybe you have something valuable to bring to the table, and we like to discuss those aspects rather than trying to you know tell people they're wrong.
mm. Oh, Ando Lance was asking, are we British?
No, we're not British. Oh wow, we're actually Australian. Okay, I'll tell you a fun story. You might be kind of confused as where I got my accent from. So I am actually naturally Filipino, and I came to Australia when I was really really young. And you know how like I don't know if you guys know too much about Australia, but like British colonized and everything. So a lot of the things we do here are similarly close to um, British kind of conventions.
Mm,
And one of the first accents I kind of picked up on was this really weird Australian accent, but like it was like I think some people in like primary school they either spoke in an odd British accent or they spoke in a really slangy Australian accent. And I
mm,
didn't really resonate too much with the slangy Australian accent, so I went and picked up the I don't know more British sounding one. But
Hmm.
but yeah, that's kind of how, if you are confused, if my voice sounds kind of funny, on what accent we kind of picked up.
Hmm. Oh, I was actually getting compliment. I was actually very complimented by that. I'm actually was born in Malaysia, and I came to Australia in 2012, I think.
Both, yeah.
And
Mm.
and all this time I thought my English was bad, but if I sound British to people, that's freaking amazing, dude.
Nah, you
Yeah.
never know. It might be just, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they were just like, oh, maybe British. But yeah.
Hmm.
Thanks for the
Yeah.
question,
So,
though.
no
Any other
worries.
comments on that?
No,
Ah, okay,
just
cool.
yeah. So if you do guys have any question,
Or
we'll
like,
try to answer.
you like, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. We don't really mind in any case. Like if you want to know about us, we can. Oh, we can just continue our talk, or like if you guys have any intake or outtakes, I'll try to read it, but I can't promise that I will read all of it, but I will try my best and read it. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, we pretty much started out this whole thing, and then yeah, and as Simon said that we do have a YouTube channel,
Oh, we
but
do, yeah.
hmm,
So funnily enough, so we were like searching around the place for where we should be, like, talking and stuff, and it was really
hmm,
hard because we were like, oh, like, we're not you couldn't say we were like a podcast, because podcasts have like specific topics they talk about, hey, and
hmm,
podcasts are usually like really directed, and we were kind of like, oh, that's not really us. We were more of just a chat, and
hmm,
so we we thought YouTube would be the place to do it. Um, and I know that even though it's a chat, don't worry, we have some visuals because our resident Mr. Justin here, like the screen cap photo you see right now, actually was made by Justin, um, which is epic, I think. And if you didn't guess enough, that's actually both of us there in a really hidden, mysterious way.
unhidden. It depends how you want to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you can kind of see, yeah, but that's who we are. I
Hmm,
forgot to link the channel here, which sucks. We have a lot.
hmm,
We actually, how many episodes? We have, I think, 2 episodes and, okay, 2 episodes, an introduction, and a live stream so far.
hmm,
We actually, our previous all our live streams are always recorded, and we were just gonna post them on YouTube anyway.
hmm.
So, this is gonna be sick as, because you guys are gonna be on this live stream as well. You're gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's me. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So if you guys are interested to to more stuff, if you really want to like
yeah. If you want to check it
we,
out,
we do have a YouTube as well, and then you guys like you don't have to check out today's one because you guys are already on today's one, but we do have like different type of contents where usually we'll talk like in during like when I'm drawing or someone's editing, or like we're playing a game, we would edit something into it, and we're trying to make a small little talk or pod. It depends how you want to look at it, pretty much on YouTube.
yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe I can. Oh, can you link? I'll after we finish this quick match we are in, Justin. You could link it into the chat if they really want to, but that's kind of just there.
Hmm.
um, yeah, but that's pretty much that.
Hmm. Do you guys have any questions?
Like maybe topics, questions. I don't know. This is a discussion.
Hmm.
Anything on there, JT?
Hmm. Not really.
That's
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
That's all right.
So
Um,
like in
hmm,
in that sense of a case, right? Like for example, like one of the viewers was talking about Doctor Disrespect, right?
yeah.
So like because like lately I've been hearing like different news about like him uh having like the big trouble of like trying to having like a insert key or of like Valorant or something like that, and then he got trouble into it, and then it's like his free
Oh,
coupon.
okay.
Yeah, like from that point, uh like because you're not the person that is on the screen, right? You're playing it as a character. Like
Yeah.
is it like if that's the case, like uh if I'm the person who create the character, am I in trouble, or like it's the person that is like fiction that's in trouble, you know what I mean? And like if if I'm in trouble, am I the one, like can the creator be like, oh, this is not me, dude, like this is my character, so like it's like this is how I play it, or like like you have to take some action or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? Just because I didn't necessarily quite get the point.
Oh,
Like,
it's
did
just
he get
that.
in trouble for like what something he did in a game or like?
Oh, I think it was like a he was saying like you kind of get like free like you know the game Valorant, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was saying like or free codes or things like that. If like correct me if I'm wrong or something, but like that's what I heard.
So he was giving out
So
free codes, is this right?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
okay,
and then after that, then people found out that he wasn't giving a free code. The reason that he was saying free code is because you like you get more viewers from it, right? And then
oh
you know
okay.
yeah, and then from that on, and then
So
Doctor Disrespectful's like his character is like he don't give two shits. Like it's like like you know what I mean? Like he doesn't give
just
any
bit
like
laid back, having fun
he
character.
doesn't
Yeah,
give
yeah,
any
yeah.
fucks. It's like and he made like a response to it. And it's like I don't give any crap to it. It's like I don't care. Then it's like I'm not gonna do anything. But and he still do the free code thing. So in that sense of the case, and like if someone wants to hold accountable for it, right?
Yeah.
Like would the creator of the character be in trouble or the character itself? You know what I mean?
Okay, what do you kind of get around by like character, as in his character
Oh
on like
yeah. So for example, if I create like some redneck character if I'm acting like a character, right?
yeah,
And it's for like a skit or like entertainment as for Dr. Disrespect.
yeah.
If that's the sense, then after that I did something wrong. Like for example, like I
So you are a character and you've done something, let's say. Yeah, okay.
yeah, so I'm playing a character and I did something like messed up or I did something wrong,
Yeah.
and then I got into trouble into it. In that sense, like because like I'm acting how my character wants to act, and
Yeah.
in a sense that people can say that like he's not in trouble like don't be mad because he's just playing a character at the moment, right? If that's the sense, like if in the future you are in like if you're in trouble
Hmm.
because of the character, would the character be in trouble or the person who created? Because like I would say that like the person who created is in trouble, right? Because they can change the character and things like that. But at the same time, like some people would argue that it's not his fault because like he's playing a character,
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
and then
So,
like
mm,
he have to like he have to play the role of the character to keep people entertained, and that's the
yeah,
whole point of his characters is to be like as racist or no, not talking about the Doctor Disrespect, but
just
for
as an
me it's like
example,
yeah, it's like my character is all about racism and like white supremacists and things like that.
some rubbish
If
like that.
saying
Yeah, yeah.
yes, something like that, and then I bring up a topic that is like that is like horrible for like people around the world, and then I'm just saying that I'm just playing a character, man. It's just for
Oh, I
entertainment.
see, I see.
Yeah.
Mm, okay. Um, well, that's a little bit hard because you're looking at like kind of understanding. Oh, like if it's just because they're playing a character,
Mm,
um, if it means that it's their fault, they're held accountable for whatever the character does.
mm,
Um, I would generally think that the person playing the character, whoever that may be, they
mm,
should be entirely comfortable with what they do while they're playing that character.
mm,
So, and it has to like match with them as a person, even like just
mm,
themselves, right? Um,
mm,
and I don't necessarily think that it's you can't really like justify too much just because I'm doing this for a skit that it's like acceptable
mm,
because even if you were kind of doing a skit and obviously with context it might make sense and it might be perfectly fine in context, but if it's just your character and it gets um like put out of context, then
mm,
you can make the claim that you're actually looking at it the wrong way. You might be looking at it at a skewed way that
mm,
you're only getting this perspective even though it was part of this whole skit thing. And
mm,
then obviously, people would make their own judgments based on whatever they saw. And if they hadn't seen the skit, they might say one thing, and if they had seen the skit, they might say another.
mm,
But most of the time, um, if it doesn't really have any context to it,
mm,
then you could say that it's the person who made the character's fault,
mm,
or like they're still held like accountable for
yeah,
whatever their made character does. Because I know it's true that not 100% of the time that they may not have 100% control of the character because someone else could play the character, and you can't say just because this guy used this character in this way that the guy who made the character is at fault, right?
mm,
But I think it should be accountable for the person playing the character. So not necessarily the one who
mm,
made it, but the one who's playing it. Because obviously,
mm,
ultimately, in the end, it's their actions that you know, that dictated whatever the character did, right?
yeah,
And so, in a sense, you couldn't blame someone who wasn't necessarily part of it.
mm,
So if you only made like I don't know, if you made let's say some alien suit, and then this guy buys your alien suit and runs around doing all sorts of weird stuff with the alien suit on, like
mm,
I guess they could hold you accountable for making it, but for the actions done, they can't really do too much because you're merely the guy who made it. But the
mm,
actions are accountable by the person who was doing the action.
mm,
So it's not entirely like no blame or your blame. It's a bit of a mix.
mm.
Yeah. But most of the time it really is the person whoever is playing the character that would be held accountable for it.
Because in a sense, because like like for example, if I'm acting a character offline, it's completely different because I can edit the different like types of things like and things like that, right?
Hmm.
So I don't have to act it off like of what's the word I'm looking for of off script or like uh what's the thing when you're doing off top of your head uh
Um,
improvising.
improvise. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
yeah.
word.
So if you're playing a character offline, you don't have to improvise, right? So for example, I would say that if you messed up in one of your like skits, I would 100% say that you are holding accountable for it
Mm,
because you're the one who's filtering it as well as like you're the one who's creating it, right? Or like you have all the you have all the stop signs or all the filtering that have to go through to publish this video and things like that, right?
yeah,
But
yeah.
if in that sense, I get that part. But what if your character is live and you're playing the character itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like my character, the whole basis of my character was that like he's a redneck or like he's like a mm, he's like a country folk, and
Okay.
he's trying to be as racist as possible and things like that, right?
Maybe that's
And
how the character's written. Let's say. Yeah.
and then that was my character, and one of like for example, and like my viewers knows that too, and then one of my viewers was he's trying to get what's the word? Like he's trying to get like told or like he's trying to like tell my like he wants me to like make fun of him and poke things like that, right?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and then I did the whole joke and things like that, and there's people around me that's like it's not my audience or my viewer and they don't know what I do, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the case, like, and I got into huge ass trouble for it. Like,
Mm.
if that's the case, like, is it my fault because I'm doing something like this, or it's not my fault because that is my character, and if I break my character, it's out of it's out of immersion for some people. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
And then
see. I see.
and then as well as like if that's the sense, like because in this day and age, like taking out of context huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's if I do get in trouble and people want to blame a person, is it my fault to blame or it's not? You know what I mean?
Oh,
And
I
like
see. I see.
and if people wants to blame on me, like if a person wants to blame on like a person or like somewhat, should they blame on my character or should they blame on me because I was the person who's creating?
Well, I mean, so here's the thing, right? For one, if it's a character in a skit and
Mm,
without context, you can take almost anything out of context, hey. But
mm,
if it's a character in a skit, then like if you're blaming someone for making like let's say an outlandish claim,
Yeah.
obviously if they understand that it was part of a skit, maybe they'll change their mind. But
Mm.
you do have to like know that, let's say you were the intention of it was like a character playing in a movie, right?
Mm.
Let's say we can actually do like an example now. Let's say you have like a Hollywood actor, right? Or actor, actress, or whatever.
Mm.
And they play a character and they do a skit, and this character is a specific type of person, right?
Mm.
And obviously, for the character to be fully alive, you have to do your best to act that, character.
Mm.
And so maybe this character is, you know, may have made certain claims about maybe a touchy topic that people don't like, and there's some people who are arguing like, oh, like we don't like that.
Mm.
Technically, in context, like out of context, that you can't really make any too much of a claim for it because
Mm.
if the context was the movie and the intent was the movie, then like you can choose to dislike whatever they said and whatnot, right? But
Mm.
it's not representative entirely of the person who played it as a whole. Like
Mm.
they were merely just acting the character. Hey,
Yeah.
you could go and annoy the director and be like, hey, why was this a thing? Like, I didn't like that.
Mm.
But then comes the hard part as well that the director doesn't make things exactly for one person. So
Mm.
how could like so the leverage they have with their word and what they're saying isn't necessarily too powerful
Yeah.
because maybe the director's intent with how that played out was for some specific reason. And
Mm.
um like don't get me wrong, it is completely fine to like dislike something and voice your opinion on it. But um trying to then prove something to them won't make any sense if you're like saying,
Mm.
oh, maybe um you can't dislike a person because they played a character and the character didn't do something you like, right?
Mm.
Maybe okay, let's say villains in movies. Um,
Yeah.
they're often played by this one specific actor or actress, right?
Mm.
And often if they're portrayed as a villain, they're often vilified, and they have that whole notion of, oh, you played this character in this movie, so you must be evil or something like that.
Mm.
But then in reality, well, that's not true. They were that's their job, is to play a character, and that's who they're meant to be, right?
Mm.
And so, but then obviously when people like see you, they'll remember you for, oh, you're the villain that played this game, and this, I mean, not this game, this movie, and so you'll be like, yeah, that's me. But obviously their personality as a person isn't entirely that, right?
Yeah.
And even then, the actions of someone playing a character should be if it's scripted, it's on the person who made it.
Mm.
If it's not scripted, it's obviously the one who made the improvisation.
Mm.
And so it's kind of their own, like, I'll not say fault, but like it's their accountability.
Yeah.
And to say the least, you know, just because they may have said one thing, um, in context of like let's say a movie or something, doesn't
Mm.
necessarily mean that's you know it's fully intentful of you know making that statement.
Mm.
So it is kind of hard. Like, because then people can then argue, oh, well, what if I can just say I did everything because of, I was playing a character. Um, but then you just really have to get real into some specifics if you wanted to
Mm.
get around that topic, because
Mm.
not all the time, people's characters, you know, just because they say something doesn't mean that's what they intended to, right?
Yeah.
Um, like, lies exist, and you can lie about something to get a better outcome that you want. That's the thing people can do.
Mm.
Um, morally maybe it's not the most accepted, you know, but there's nothing preventing people from really doing it, hey.
Mm.
And so even though maybe morally wrong, a lot of people can then just say, oh well, if let's say you did a crime as a character and be like, oh, but it was for a skit, but then you could, you know I don't really think that would hold up in court if you went and robbed a
Mm.
bank and like, oh no, this
Yeah.
is part of a skit, and then you're like, well, you don't have to, go out of your way to
You d-
fully rob and
Bro.
hold these people hostage,
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why it makes sense for a bank robbery to be happening on a movie set,
Mm.
um, rather than uh, rather than just out in the open. Hey,
Mm.
and so without context, obviously doesn't make any sense, and that's
Mm.
why you need context, or else people
Mm.
just take things out of proportion, and it's not necessarily right. You could say.
Mm. Definitely.
Yes. Ah, yeah, so close. Ah, yeah. Oh, we've been streaming for a while, haven't we?
I think so.
Yes.
I don't know what time it started.
I can see the counter. It's like an hour 20. I've seen.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have I been lagging at any point?
No, you're fine.
Fine, because I saw
Yeah.
in game I've been lagging so much.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Did you not see? I was like skyrocketing to like 800 ping. It was really sad.
Not really.
Oh no, I was.
I think for
I'm surprised we won some of our games because like I was literally rubber banding 24/7, and yeah, it didn't
I,
disconnect me from the game. Surprise.
I think the whole time I was listening to your audio. So if you're not lagging my audio, you're fine.
So you're not lagging on my audio on Discord. It's fine.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna put this to a wrap for now
Hmm.
because I'm gonna because I do have some other things to do
Hmm.
for
No
now.
worries.
Yeah. So there you go.
Hmm.
Um, how did we wrap this up last time?
Oh, we just say. I think we just say bye.
Okay.
Because that's last time there's no viewers, so it was easier. But
Yeah, I know. I'm actually gonna check this out. Hold on. It's a bit hard because I can't. Okay, so the only reason I can't actually view the stream directly is because the stream will then reproduce the sound it can see from my desktop. Because unfortunately, I haven't hooked up my desktop audio. I haven't hooked up the OBS recording to just Discord audio. So the
ah,
issue is why I can actually not see the stream right now is
no.
because it will rubber band back, and so you're gonna hear two of us when I
Hmm.
go on to stream.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, are there still people on there?
But yeah, there's one. There's still one person or
Oh,
two
okay,
person.
that's fun.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, like many things that are temporary, this stream will now conclude.
Hmm.
Um, appreciate the views. It is a surprise for us that there actually is
Hmm.
someone that watches. It's a very nice surprise. But
Hmm.
JT, can you link the? Okay, I might just put it in the channel in the description next time we go live.
Hmm.
Can you link the channel in the
I
chat
can
on
try.
the? Just leave
Hmm.
this game right now. You just leave this one here.
Hmm. No worries, no worries. Let me check.
Yeah.
I'm just scared that
No what?
uh I'm just because I don't the thing I'm viewing is not a I'm not really on a chat or something. I'm not on account when I'm watching live stream. So
Oh, yeah, of course. No,
yeah,
I
I
think.
need I need an account to put it up.
Oh, so you're not even logged into our account. Here we go.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can fix this. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay, my apologies if you're about to hear a double layer of voices because that's how the recording actually works. Boy, is this going to be fun. Let's go to channel. Um, okay, I'm going to pause this. Okay, so that doesn't come through my end, but there would have been two arms.
No worries.
Hold on. Let me see if I can edit this because I think I have our channel thing on viewer
I can send you
success.
the link if you want.
Okay, can you please just chuck it to
Hmm.
me really quickly?
No worries.
Yeah, cool.
So
So copy link.
how's your day? Are you still here?
I actually can't see the chat. This makes me sad. I need to fix this next time. Okay. broadcast options. I'm gonna put it under the go live, not the go live notification, not in the title. Where do I put it?
Description, the bio feed or something.
Chat. Hold on. Does it say? Oh, Rob's here. That's the other one, you idiot.
Really?
Rob. Yeah, it's Rob. Was he the first one here?
No, no, it was not. It was not.
Oh, I was gonna say if it was Rob this whole time, I would have been like, bruh. God. Okay, I put it in the chat. Okay.
There you go.
And that's for the other three that were on earlier on, which is kind of cool.
Mm,
But yeah, no. So we're actually just gonna conclude the stream now.
mm,
You can expect us to go live on Sundays. I'm not really sure
mm.
with the time. Sorry, it's a bit hard
Yeah.
to calculate the time,
It
especially with
uh it's usually we would say will be on Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoons. Excuse me, I have stuff to do. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Friday evenings maybe.
yeah,
Yeah,
Friday evening or Friday afternoon. It really depends. Yeah.
yeah. Please tell me I was recording this. Oh, thank God. That would
Yeah.
have been catastrophic if I wasn't.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for listening
Thank you
and
for
have a good
listening,
day.
and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye bye. Stop streaming.